Hey everybody, Sharon here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today back in Brok the InvestiGator going for the Ads Fan achievement. This is going to be the big collectible achievement, and it is to pick up all 111 collectible ads. There aren't going to be any in the prologue, so we're going to get started in Chapter 1. Every single area in the game is going to contain 3 ads. They're going to take the form of triangles with QR codes on them. There's going to be a total of 37 areas. 37 times 3 is going to equal 111. So, first area in the game is going to be your apartment. The first ad is going to be located underneath your bed. Just make sure you click on it in order to pick it up. Once you pick one up, it should be added to your inventory. Your inventory is going to keep track of how many you have. It's also going to keep track of which ones you have picked up already. Moving on, we're going to head to the back left corner and then open up the refrigerator. Make sure you grab the ad on the bottom shelf. That's going to be the second of the 3. And the third and final one for the apartment is going to be in this pile of clothes right here over by the kitchen counter. So make sure you grab it right here in the bottom right. And then once we have all 3, we're going to move on to the next area. So wrap up whatever you have to do in the apartment and then make sure you head into the lobby. Once you are here, the first one is going to be on the job board, so make sure you click on that. You're going to want to look underneath the post-it notes in the upper right over here in the corner. Just make sure you pick that one up. Sometimes the ads are going to blend in quite well into the background, so make sure you are vigilant. You're going to want to open up the mailbox, so click on the mail security system to pop it open, and then click on the mailbox to look inside. You should pull out your mail, and then after you take care of that, what you want to do is want to make sure you click on the mailbox again. And then after Brok further investigates the mailbox, you should pull out the second ad of the area. So make sure you pocket that one, and then we're going to move on to the third one. So you're going to notice a tile that's going to be cracked right here, about halfway between your door and the job board. So what you want to do is want to make sure you stand on this, hit the Y button to enter action mode, and then just keep jumping up and down on the tile until it shatters. And then once the floor cracks, you should be able to pull out the third ad. Once you have that, we're going to head on outside now. Once you are outside, you're going to have your first encounter with the tramp as well as his attackers. It isn't going to really matter for this particular playthrough whether or not we keep him alive or not, as he has no bearing on any of the collectibles. So make sure you do whatever you want with him. But the first collectible of the outside of the apartment complex is going to be right here. So make sure you pick it up in this pile of rubble right here. After you have that, the next one up is going to be blended in very well on this advertisement. It's going to be an ad on an ad. Make sure you click on the bottom right corner and then you should pick it up. And then after that, you're going to take the elevator up onto the deck. Make sure you head to the right and you're going to find the next ad in this gash in the floor right here. So make sure you pick that one up. While we are up here, we're going to also head into the room where we would normally play the Trasher Hunt minigame. So make sure you go on inside there, and then you're going to get the little explanation on what it is. But we are also going to grab some collectibles while we're in here. First one up, make sure you enter action mode, and what you want to do is want to make sure you break this statue right here. After you hit it a few times, it should drop the first ad of the room, and you should automatically pick it up. I'm going to recommend you keep hitting it until it breaks, as it is going to drop money every time you hit it. So make sure you pocket all of that, as you are going to need a ton of cash in order to get some of the later collectibles in Chapter 1. So once you are finished looting the statue, you're going to want to go for the next collectible. It is going to require that you head up to the control panel where you would normally play the Trasher Hunt minigame. So make sure you do that, and then you're going to find it in the upper left corner. You are going to have to get through the tutorial of the minigame, so make sure you read those. And then once that is over, make sure you click on it right over here. It's going to be in the shadows in the upper left. Click on that, and that should be number 2. And then the third collectible is going to require that we actually play the minigame. So hopefully you were paying attention during the tutorials and you are going to have to play the game. It is going to be completely random what treasure you pull out. So if you can pull out some treasure, hopefully it will be the third ad. But this one is going to be the most frustrating one. It is also going to cost you money to play the minigame. So if you're worried about running out for the later collectibles, I'm going to recommend you make a save beforehand. But just keep playing until you randomly pull out the third and final ad of the room, and then once you have all 3, feel free to leave. If you are super worried about money, you can always come back in a later chapter whenever you do have access to the apartment building, so make sure you do keep that in mind. You do have access to the mini game for most of the main story. Now, once you leave the area, you should be out here in the overworld on the map. There's actually going to be some collectibles out here. There should be one right here on the shoreline directly above home, so make sure you click on that. It's going to be very hard to see, so make sure you try to look for it, but click on it, and that should be the first of the overworld collectibles. There's going to be one that's going to be right here under the dome. However, we can't pick it up until we actually get access to the dome. So skip that one for now, and then just make sure you go up here. Be very careful not to step into the red area, as you are going to take some damage from the radiation, but the third ad is going to be right here on this peninsula in the north, so make sure you click on that and then pocket that one. Then it's going to be back to the story, so make sure you make your way over to the next destination, which is going to be Sector 56X, and then once you are there, you're going to be right here on the streets. Look in the pill pipe right here in the bottom right hole is going to be the next ad, so make sure you pick that one up. We are going to go past the merchant stall and then head over here into this corner right here. Look in this hole in the wooden fence, and then you should grab the second collectible ad. Once you have that one, we're going to go over here where the archway is. Make sure you enter action mode, and you should be able to jump on this makeshift staircase. Make your way to the top of the arch, and then once you are there, you are able to find the third ad right over here, and then pick that one up, and then make sure you move on with your journey down the street. So you can just drop down, and then we're going to head to the gate. You can do either method to open the gate. You can either do the puzzle solving method where you figure out how the code works, or you can break open the gate if you really want to. Doesn't really matter, at least for this particular achievement, so make sure you just get the gate open and then get access to the apartment building. Once you are in the hallway, there's going to be another 3 collectibles here. First one up requires you to go over to the mailboxes. Make sure you enter action mode, and you want to make sure you punch the bottom left mailbox. Make sure you are hitting the mailbox in its hitbox though, and you are doing damage to it. Once you break it all the way, you should fish out another ad. Once you have that one, you want to make sure you look on the right-hand wall. In this bit of rubble right here is going to be the next ad, so make sure you pick that one up right here. Then the next one is going to require that you go to this second door on the left. Make sure you knock on it. The neighbor is going to tell you to leave, but if you keep knocking on it, he's going to eventually give in and then give you the third and final advertisement of the apartment hallway right here. Make sure you try to take care of these apartment collectibles on your first trip here during Chapter 1, as the apartment building is going to get locked off to you after Chapter 4. Nonetheless, once you have everything in the hallway, head inside and then meet up with Sin. After your conversation with him, you're going to get free roam of his apartment to investigate. The first ad is going to be right here in this stack of shot glasses, so make sure you look in there. Once you have that, you want to make sure you look in his jacket. That's going to be hung up right here in the back left corner, so make sure you fish out the ad out of the pockets. And then once you have that one, the last one is going to require that you drop the bed, so make sure you press the button in order to drop it. And then you're going to want to look on the wall. There should be a crack in the middle, and then inside there you can fish out the third ad. It's going to be highly recommended that you grab the remote control, so make sure you try to take that. You're going to drop it, and then of course you are able to pick it up to repair it later on. It is going to be needed for a specific collectible, but in general it's going to make a lot of the game a lot easier, so make sure you might as well pick it up. Make sure you take care of whatever you have left to do in your initial investigation of Sin's apartment, but once you are done, feel free to leave and then head over to Shay's garage as your next destination. Once you are outside of the garage, you're going to want to grab the collectibles that are going to be out here. You're going to need to take a dip into the water, as there is going to be an ad right here on this overturned boat, so make sure you pick that one up. That one's going to be pretty obvious. Less obvious than that one is going to be the one that requires you to swim across the body of water to the back strip of land right here. Once you resurface on this back strip of land, you're going to want to follow it all the way to the left, and then right here is going to be the next collectible. It's going to be a little hard to see, but you should be able to notice it among the bright background, so make sure you just grab that. And then once you have that, we're just going to take the same body of water to get back to the main land. Once you make it back, you're going to want to head towards the garage door. You are going to notice the fence on the left, and then right here under this jacket thing is going to be the third ad of the front of the garage, so make sure you pick that one up. Then get the garage open by hitting both of the buttons. Watch out for the saw trap in the middle. Make sure you press one and then quickly move to the other side to press the other, and then make sure you dip into the garage as soon as the door opens. Once you are in here, you're going to meet up with Shay for the first time. Make sure you get your introductions out of the way. The important thing you want to do here is you want to make sure you try to give her the remote control to repair. That should allow you to use it. If you are still strapped for cash at this point, you can also give her the cleaning bot, and she should give you 250 money in return. Once you are done talking to her and have gotten all of the story stuff out of the way, I'm going to recommend you grab the rubber cutter off of the wall. This is going to be needed for a specific collectible. So even if you plan on skipping any of the puzzles that involve using the rubber cutter, I'm going to recommend picking it up anyways, as you are going to need it for that collectible. So make sure you grab it off of the wall and then bring it back to Shay to confirm what it is. And then once you have it, you should have the ability to use it to cut some rubber whenever needed. So once we have all of that taken care of, we're going to mop up the collectibles in here. So make sure you get control of your character back and then start picking up the collectibles. There's going to be 3 in the main floor of the garage, so make sure you grab the one that's going to be right next to Shay right here underneath the desk. Once you have that one, the next one is going to be to the right. You're going to notice these 2 floating cushions right here. Make sure you look underneath the one on the right with the stack of papers on it. You are going to notice the collectible just hidden underneath it in the upper right corner. So make sure you pick that one up, and then once you have that one, the third collectible is going to be blended in quite well over here on the counter. You want to make sure you look over here next to these tubes, and then right over here is going to be the collectible in between these 2 tubes. Very hard to see, but make sure you pick that one up. We're not done with the garage yet, as there's going to be another part off to the right, which is going to be Shay's bedroom. So make sure you follow the blue arrow into here. Once you are in here, you're going to want to look for the other 3 collectibles of the garage. We're going to have one that's going to be underneath this metal sheet right here, so make sure you pick that one up. After that one, we're going to head over here and then look under the bed, and then make sure you grab that one. For the third and final one of this room, you want to make sure you look behind the VR cabin. You want to make sure you go behind it, and then you can find it in the back right corner right here in the shadows. So make sure you pick that one up, and then once you have all 3, feel free to leave the garage. You should have everything you need, so it's going to be on to the overworld, and then we should have everything we need to move on to the next area. So make sure you go over to the border post. Once you are here, you're going to meet up with Bolt. You are going to need to convince him to open up the glass dome for you so you can get up onto the tower. So quickest way to do that is to just talk to him, ask him about himself, ask him about his job, and then finally ask him about the building. That's going to be the minimum amount of steps you need in order to get him to unlock the door for you. Once you've done so, you can find your next collectible on the other side of that formerly locked door, so make sure you pick it up. It can be a little hard to see, but it's going to be just to the left of the back of the bench right here. So make sure you pick that one up, and then it's going to be over to the controls. We're going to need to do the little puzzle in order to build us a makeshift staircase to get higher up onto the tower. So make sure you do this by dropping the boxes to form that staircase shape. You can take either side up, doesn't really matter. It's easier to do it on the left side though, so make sure you do that. And then once you have that in place, you're going to take the elevator up on the right to get higher up onto the glass dome. Then use the staircase to get onto the walkway, then take the ladder up to get to the top of the tower. And then once you get to the top, you're going to find the next ad as soon as you get off. So just make sure you get through that. And then once we're at the top, make sure you grab the collectible right here on this pipe. Once we have this collectible, we're going to need to grab the third one, which is going to be directly beneath us towards the left by breaking the vending machine. If you remember this from the Food Thief achievement, you should know how to do this, but basically, you're going to open up your inventory, you're going to grab the apartment key, and then you're going to use it on the shelf bracket. Make sure you use it right here on the left one, and then once that is gone, make sure you enter action mode, and then you're going to punch the board until it falls down. It's going to fall on top of the vending machine, and then once it breaks the vending machine, you should be able to head back down the tower. And then once you are down there, just make sure you interact with the broken vending machine. You should steal a bunch of food, but more importantly, also in here is going to be the third and final ad of this area. So make sure you grab all of your goodies, and then it's going to be back up the tower to head on inside to continue on with the story. There isn't going to be any collectibles in the interior of the building, thankfully, so you don't have to worry about that. Make sure you just wrap up whatever you need to do at the border post, and then once you get your clearance to enter the dome, make sure you do so by interacting with the scanner and then heading on inside. Once you get access to the dome, you should be able to grab that third overworld collectible that we left behind earlier. So make sure you pick that one up right here. So very important that you grab it before you forget about it. So make sure you pick it up as soon as you get access to the dome. And then once you have it, it's going to be on to Drummer Street. So make sure you head on over there. Once you make it into the city, we're going to grab the first few collectibles right here. First one up is going to be the reason why we needed to save up the money. We are going to interact with this vending machine right here. It's going to be the one on the left. This one's going to require that you buy it. It's going to cost you 50 money. So make sure you buy the ad from the vending machine. Now, if you don't have any money, you can always come back later on and then buy it at a different time. As long as you have access to the dome, you should be able to get access to the vending machine. So once you get that one taken care of, we're going to move on down the street. We're going to head past the pharmacy, and then we're going to stop here. There's going to be a triangle that if you stand in front of it should produce a hologram. In the middle of the hologram on the bottom is going to be the second ad, so make sure you pick that one up. Once you have that, we're going to head all the way to the end of the street right here. There's going to be a garbage collector right here with an ad inside. This is going to be why we got the rubber cutter. So make sure you equip that and then use it on the garbage collector, and you should be able to fish out the third ad. So make sure you take care of that. And then you're going to wrap up what you need to do in order to get access to the pharmacy and the back alley. You can do either method to get inside. You can either do the puzzle solving method, or you can try to fight the police robots. Nonetheless, just make sure you loot the key off of his body, and that should open up the back alley and give you access to the pharmacy. I'm going to recommend you head into the back alley first, as there are going to be cardboard boxes here that are going to contain money in them. So make sure you break open all of them and then try to loot as much cash as you can. There's going to be another collectible in a bit that is going to require that you have some cash. So make sure you try saving up. And again, if you don't have enough money at this point in the game, you can always come back later on. So make sure you do keep notes of these if you do plan on skipping them due to lack of funds. So once everything is dealt with here, we're going to head inside the pharmacy to investigate the crime scene. Before we do that, though, we do have collectibles to get. So first one up is going to be the one that does cost us some money. Make sure you go to the panel on the right and then use it. At the cost of 50 money, you're going to get a medical examination, and the result of that is going to be another collectible. So make sure you pocket that one. And then once you have that one, in order to get to the second collectible, you are going to want to head over to the opposite wall on the left. You're going to notice all of these pictures of medicines. You're going to need to click on every single one that is going to be clickable. There's going to be a total of 6 of them. If you are having trouble seeing them, you can always put up icons, and that should make finding what you need to click on exactly way easier. So the 6 things you need to click on are going to be the powder, the capsule, the drink, the fur, the chocolate bar, and the liquid. Once you have clicked on all 6, you should be rewarded for listening to all of the advertisements with another ad, which is going to be our collectible, of course. So make sure you pocket that one, and then it's going to be on to our third one. You can find it directly above us in the form of an ad balloon. You are going to need to bring it down as we can't reach it. So this is going to be where the remote control is going to come in handy. Open up your inventory and then equip the remote control, and then make sure you use it to disable any nearby machines. This is going to bring the ad balloon down, and then you should be able to pull the ad off of it, and that's going to be the third collectible. Once you have that, make sure you wrap up your investigation here in the pharmacy, and then once you are done here, we're going to head over to the back alleyway. So once you step foot outside, you're going to want to head into the alleyway that we were at previously. Once you are here, make sure you enter action mode, jump on these triangle boxes, and then look in the chain link fence right here for the first ad of the alleyway. Pick that one up and then jump down. Ad number 2 is going to be right here at this corner of these pipes. Make sure you pick that one up. And then the third one is going to require that we hit that target on the left. To do this, what you have to do is you have to open up your inventory and then find a throwable item. I'm going to recommend you use your stick, so make sure you equip that. And then to throw something, you're going to need to hold right trigger and then hit the attack button, which is going to be X, while in action mode. So Y button to enter action mode, hold right trigger, and then hit X. Hopefully you hit the target, and if you do hit it successfully, the ad is going to pop up right next to it. So make sure you pick that one up as soon as it pops up, and then that should be the 3 you need for this area. You're going to continue your investigation, which is going to require that you look in the sewer grate and then try to get the manhole cover open. You can either do the puzzle to open it, or you could break it open if you want to go that way. Once you are in the sewer, you want to make sure you stay to the left. There's going to be a hole right here that you can search. Inside is going to be your first collectible, so make sure you pocket that one. Once you have that one, make sure you head up and then across this wooden plank to get to the other side of the sewer. Once you're here, be very careful not to fall into the chemicals, but you're going to look right here on the wall. There's going to be an X right here. Switch over to action mode and then punch that X, and then the wall should break, and then behind it is going to be the second ad, and then the third ad is going to be right over here. It's going to be in the bottom left corner of the plank bridge, so make sure you grab it in the gutter, and then once you have all of those, we're going to move on with our investigation. The quickest way to get through this is to just investigate two things. You're going to want to investigate the handkerchief as well as the marks in the gutter. Fully investigating both of these items is going to allow you to proceed further into the sewer, so make sure you head down, and then once you're here, you are going to be in the minefield. I'm going to recommend you cross it first before going after any collectibles. So you're going to have to steer through the maze and then use your remote control to cross over. You're going to encounter the gang of rats. It shouldn't matter how you decide to deal with them. You can either try to do the puzzle solving method, which is going to require that you leave and come back. You can also try to fight them if you want to go that route. Nonetheless, once they are taken out and you have free roam of this room, you're going to want to look for the collectibles. First one up is going to be in the basket. Make sure you examine it once to get your stuff back. Examine it a second time for some dialogue, and then a third time is going to yield the first collectible. So make sure you pull all three of those out. After this, we're going to backtrack a bit over to the minefield. If you haven't done so already, I'm going to recommend you use the remote to disable the mines so you have safe passage across. But make sure you go all the way back to the left. Then you're going to want to take the staircase down to the bottom lane. The next collectible is going to be right here, so make sure you pick that up right before the bottom minefield. Once you have that, we're going to head back to the right, and we're going to stop at the far staircase. So just make sure you cross the mines again. They should still be disabled if you use the remote on them. But you're going to notice the collectible right here in the middle of this acid pool on a little island towards the bottom. The safest passageway there is going to be to take the staircase down on the right and then do a big jump across. So enter action mode and then try to clear this jump, and then just make sure you exit action mode and then grab the ad, and then you should be done for this part of the sewers. With all three of those out of the way, it should be safe to move on with the rest of the story, so make sure you jump back to safety, and then it's going to be all the way to the right past the heaping bodies of rats, and then once we make it into the pipes room, we are going to need to do the panel puzzle in order to fish out the gun for the story. So make sure you do that. Pretty simple, just push the puck into the finish line, and then once you fish the gun out, you're going to investigate it. You're going to have to inspect it. The first thing you want to do is make sure you get the collectible out of the way, so make sure you switch sides by hitting the Y button or clicking on the arrow. Once you flip it over to the other side, it's going to have the collectible right here, so make sure you pull that off of the gun and then finish investigating it to get some more answers. So once you finish inspecting the gun, you're going to put it away, and then before you move on, we're going to grab the other two collectibles. The second collectible is going to require that we do the pipe mini game again, so make sure you head back to the panel, and this time push a second puck in, and then after doing the second puck, you should be rewarded with the ad. So make sure you just get that across the finish line. If you want to do the third puck, it's just going to give you a healing item, so if you must, make sure you do that one as well. But nonetheless, the second one is going to pop the ad out right here, so make sure you fish that one out. Then finally for this room, the next ad is going to be right here in the second pipe, so make sure you pull that one out, and that's going to be all three. That should also be the last one we can grab in chapter 1, so we're going to finish the rest of the chapter and then start up chapter 2. Make sure you play through the beginning of the chapter and then get to Brok's scenario in the jail cell. Once you are here, you want to make sure you press the second button. That's going to change the cell over to bedroom mode. You can click on the screen, and then what you want to do is make sure you click on this book. Make sure you thumb through the pages. Once you get to page 3, what's going to happen is the book is going to ask if you want to do a firmware update. Make sure you pick yes to confirm. It's going to download it, but it's going to get stuck at 99%. It's going to then reboot into beta mode, which is going to change the contents of the book. Now, it's going to be in this newly updated book where we're going to find the next collectible. So once you have the update fail, just make sure you reopen the book, and you're going to want to flip through the pages until you get to page 5. On page 5 is going to be your next collectible as the page, so make sure you pick that one up. Now, if you really want to, you can also do the trick where you get to page 999 by flipping all the way to the end, and if you reach there, the game is going to reward you with 49,999 money. None of the other ads in the game are going to require that you need this money. However, if you skip one of the ones earlier and needed money to get back to them, make sure you do take advantage of this trick. Nonetheless, to get back to the next collectible, which one you want to make sure you press the third button to set the cell back to restroom mode. Then you're going to want to activate the debug mode by stepping on the floor panels in this order. You want to do bottom left, upper right, bottom right, and then upper left. Once you activate debug mode, you're going to be good to continue on to the next step. It shouldn't really matter what method you use to escape prison. You can either do the puzzle solving method, or if you want to fight RJ, you can also switch to action mode and then attack the sink until he challenges you to a fight, knock him out, and then escape that way. Either way can be used to get the next two collectibles as long as you activated debug mode before you tried to escape. So make sure you take advantage of that, and then just make sure you get RJ down for the count. He's going to get knocked out either way, either the puzzle solving method or the violent method. Regardless of what method, though, once you do have access to his unconscious body, make sure you try to loot it, and if you keep looting it, you're going to fish out the next collectible. So make sure you search him the first time, and then you should pocket some food as well as some money. And if you try to search him one more time, you should pull out the collectible. So make sure you do so while he's knocked out, and then we're going to be good for the second collectible. The third collectible is going to be the reason why we turned on debug mode, even if we took the violent approach. Head back into the cell and then press button number 1. That's going to allow you to control the visitor lift. Make sure you steer it in to these 4 buttons right here in the back right corner. Make sure you press all of them in any order. As long as they all turn red, they're going to pop out the collectible right over here, and we should be able to grab it on our way out. So make sure you grab that and then just wrap up whatever you have to do in the cell. Make sure you say your goodbyes to Sin and then grab all of your stuff out of the locker and then prepare for your prison break. Once you are outside, depending on what method you took, you either have to stealth your way through or you have to fight your way through. In the interrogation room, though, there are going to be the next 3 collectibles. One is going to be right here on the back wall on the left side of the archway. The next one is going to be on the lens of the security camera. Be very careful not to accidentally click on the entrance to leave. And then the third and final one is going to be right here in the bottom right on the flower pot. So make sure you click on that. And then once you have all 3 of these, just make sure you move on to the next room. This may or may not be easier depending on what method you're doing, either fighting or stealth. So make sure you do keep that in mind. Nonetheless, once you finish up at the police station, you're going to switch over to Graff's scenario over here at the Consciousness Center. Make sure you grab the first collectible right over here on this tree-like structure. And then once you have that, the next one is going to be right over here on Stubot's desk. You might have to push him and Ott out of the way to get access to it, though, but it's going to be right here on the corner of the table. So make sure you pocket that one, and the third one is going to be right outside, so make sure you exit out of the door. There's going to be a railing that goes around the outside perimeter right here. You can find the collectible right over here on the right side of the door, so make sure you pick that one up. There's going to be nothing else of importance for the rest of Chapter 2, so we're going to skip ahead to Chapter 3. At some point during Chapter 3, you're going to head over to Hacker Street. This is going to be regardless of how the story is going to go. You're going to go here for different reasons, though. But once you do get access to the street, you're going to find the first collectible here in this pile of trash. Once you have that, we're going to move forward, and then you're going to find the second one right here in this grate. So make sure you pick that one up. And then the third one is going to require that we do a little bit of platforming. So go over here to where the dog statue is. You're going to notice a plank right here. Make sure you interact with the 2 brackets holding it in place, and then interact with the plank itself. You should put it up, which is going to give you a platform you can jump on. Make sure you lock the brackets, though, just for safety. And then once you have the plank in place, make sure you enter action mode. do a little bit of platforming up, and then make sure you get to the top, and then right over here in this grate is going to be your next ad, so make sure you pocket that one, and then it's going to be onward to the back side of Hacker Street. So just platform your way down and then head over to the left, and then once you are at the back street, you're going to want to look for the next 3 collectibles. First one up is going to be right over here in this wall on this building, so make sure you pull that one out. Next one up is going to be over at the pipe hill. It's going to be at the higher part, so you're going to need to platform up here since you can't reach it. Make sure you enter action mode, jump on the lower part of the pipe hill, and then you should be able to grab it from this part right over here. Then for the third one of the area, it's going to be blended in quite well, but what you want to do is you want to make sure you look in this pile of debris right here. It's going to be on the right side, so make sure you fish that one out. And then once you have that, we're going to try to get inside of the hacker house. You can do either method. You can try to do the puzzle solving method to try to trick RJ, or you can challenge him to another fight if you're doing the violent method. Nonetheless, once you get access to Hacker's house, make sure you look for the next 3 ads. First one up is going to be in the pizza box, so make sure you pull that one out. Next one up is going to be over here on the shelf. It's going to be on the second shelf right here towards the right, so make sure you try to look for that. And then the third one is going to require that we enter action mode and then break these planks right here. So make sure you chip away at that. The planks have a ton of health, so make sure you keep smacking it, and then after enough patience, they should break. And then behind it, you should be good for the third ad of the hacker house. Make sure you talk to the hacker to get your next assignment, and that's going to lead you to the police department. Once you are there, you should be out in the front lobby. Now that we actually have free roam of the place, we should be able to go for the next collectibles. First one up is going to be right here on the left side of the entranceway, so make sure you pick that one up behind the potted plant. The second one is going to be over in the window right here. You're going to need to press the button in order to get the shutters loose. And then what's going to happen is the ad is going to pop out on the upper right corner right here. You're going to need to play around with the button until you get it fully loose. So just make sure you keep pressing the button and then just keep adjusting the shutters until it comes out enough where you can pull it out. So once you are allowed to take the ad from the window corner, make sure you do so. As for the third one, make sure you pay attention to behind the front desk. You're going to notice the wanted posters that are going to cycle through. Eventually what's going to happen is on the left one, the ad is going to pop up as one of those wanted posters. Make sure you try to click on it before it cycles to the next one. So that one is going to require a little bit of patience and timing. So make sure you pull that one, and then it's going to be on to the police station office. So make sure you do the little sequence to try to get access to the office, and then once inside, you're going to need to grab the next collectibles. As soon as you get inside, you're only going to be allowed to get the first one, which is going to be right here on the crime board. It's going to be this circle on the right, so make sure you pull that off. In order to get the other 2, you're going to have to get rid of Ott. You can take either method to get rid of him, either the puzzle solving method, or you can take the violent method and knock him out. It's going to be up to you on how you want to do this playthrough, but eliminating him through either means is going to allow you to get both collectibles, as you're going to have full access to the room. So make sure you do that, and then the first collectible is going to be right here in the box on the desk. It's going to be right here on the right on this piece of paper sticking out. So try to click on it, and then once you have that, the third and final one of this room is going to be on the computer. Click on the computer, and then on the screen it's going to be in the upper left. So make sure you take care of those, and then we're going to wrap up the rest of the puzzle solving we have in the police department. That's going to take us straight into Graff's scenario at the bunker. Once you are here, make sure you press the button in the bottom right. What's going to happen is as soon as you press it, it's going to automatically give you the first ad. So make sure you pocket that one. The second one is going to be in the right chamber. So make sure you step through the doors and then grab it right here in the shadows by this triangle right here. And then the third one is going to be in the upper chamber. You can access the chambers at any time, so feel free to go for the ads before you do any of the puzzles. So it's going to be back to the starting area, and then it's going to be upwards to the topmost chamber. Make sure you enter action mode, and then you want to make sure you jump on this crate right here, and then jump up one more time to get on to this higher area. While up here, you're going to notice the collectible right over here on this triangle immediately as soon as you get up. So make sure you pocket this one, and then feel free to carry on with the rest of the bunker puzzles. This is going to bring us into Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is going to be Brok and Ott at the lab. You're going to start right here out front. The first collectible is going to be out on the road. You're going to need to time it so you don't get hit by the cars in order to grab it. I'm going to recommend you take a step out onto the street and then back so you get rid of that warning box. And then quickly, when the coast is clear, you run and then you grab that collectible. And then hopefully you make it back to safety without getting run over by any of the cars. Once you make it back, the second collectible is going to be right here behind the hover bike, and then the third collectible is going to be in the middle entrance way. You are going to have to head up this escalator right here, so just make sure you hold that direction until you make it to the top, and then once you do so, just pull the ad down, and that should be everything for the lab exterior. Obviously, make sure you go for the run as soon as the characters are done giving you warning boxes, as they're going to be very annoying and prevent you from getting anywhere. But just make sure you take care of that ad, and it's going to be on to the inside of the lab. Once you get through your little introductions, you're going to be out here in the front lobby. Make sure you grab the first collectible right in the middle on the floor on this triangular tile. Once you have that one, what you want to do is make sure you enter action mode, jump onto the security desk, and then jump onto this shelf. Then you'll find the collectible right here on the second light fixture. So make sure you pull that one off. As for the third one, you cannot grab it right away, so you are going to have to wait a while. So we are going to have to continue on by going into the room on the left. Once you are in here, there's going to be another 3 collectibles, of course. There's going to be one right here on this triangular painting, so make sure you pull that one off. It's going to be another one that's going to disappear and reappear, so make sure you time it so you can pull it off. Next one up is going to be right here in the speaker grill on the right in the middle, so pull that one out. Then the third one is going to be in the materials bin. It's going to be in the one that's going to be second from the right. So make sure you try to look for it. It's going to be camouflaged pretty well, but make sure you pick that one up and we should be done with Dr. Hush's lab. Once you take care of everything in here, back out into the front lobby, then it's going to be over to Dr. Mink's lab. You can try to knock and convince him, or you can break the door down. Doesn't really matter as long as you get access to the lab. So it's going to be a matter of what type of playthrough you're going for, or how much patience you have. Nonetheless, once you get in here, you should be introduced to the investigation in the form of the murder scene, but once you do get access to your character and get free roam, you can find the first collectible right over here on this power strip in the pile of wires right here. The second collectible is going to be blended in quite well. It's going to be in the window right here in the back left. The collectible is going to be just to the right of the column of light, so make sure you grab it from there. And then once you have that, we're going to go for the third one, which is going to require that you drain the sink. Make sure you get the achievement to drink out of the sink first before you go for this one, obviously, since if you drain the sink, you aren't going to be able to drink from it anymore. So make sure you interact with the sink and then drink from it, and then if you don't have the achievement already from a previous playthrough, keep drinking from it. Once you are ready to go for the collectible though, make sure you choose to drain it, and then once you have drained it, you should be able to look in it, and then inside is going to be the collectible. So make sure you fish that one out from the empty sink, and that should take care of Dr. Mink's lab in terms of collectibles. Make sure you continue your investigation, and eventually it's going to lead you to go into the middle room, which is going to be the restroom. Once you are in here, make sure you interact with the drawer on the sink counter right here. Inside is going to be some coffee and stuff, but also inside is going to be the next collectible right over here behind the packs of coffee, so make sure you click on that if you can. And then once you pocket that one, the next collectible is going to be over here in the little washing machine thing in the shower. Unfortunately, we aren't able to go for the third one in the restroom quite just yet. However, while in the restroom, we are able to go for the third one from the lobby. This one's going to require that we open up the first aid kit. You're going to notice there's going to be a button inside. What you want to do is you want to make sure you enter action mode and then make sure you punch the button. What's going to happen is it's going to activate the dispenser out in the lobby. Make sure you head back out to the front and then make sure you look inside. There's going to be an energy drink, so make sure you pocket that one. But if you head back into the restroom, what's going to happen is you should be able to open up the first aid kit again, then enter action mode and then punch the button again. And then this time, instead of food coming out of the dispenser, you should get the third ad from the lobby. This also does happen to be part of the Food Thief achievement, so make sure you take note of this if you don't have that one yet. So make sure you take care of that, and then we're going to need to go for that third one from the restroom. This is going to require that we end our investigation, so make sure once you are ready and have all of the clues, make sure you talk to Ott to gather everyone up in Dr. Mink's office. You are going to need to try to continue the investigation, so make sure you do not charge Dr. Mink for the murder, which is going to allow the investigation to continue on. So if the scenario goes into the extended investigation, what you can do is you can head back into the restroom. You should be allowed to further investigate the refrigerator. So make sure you investigate the right side, and then inside is going to be the wardrobe. Make sure you interact with it to pull all of the stuff out, and then as soon as everything is dumped onto the floor, make sure you look on the top shelf, and then you should be able to find the third and final ad of the lab restroom, as well as the final ad in the lab overall, and then we should be able to wrap up with our investigation here. Moving on back to Graff's scenario, this is going to be his finale over at the bunker. Once you are in control of him, make sure you grab the first ad right here to the right of the observation room in the corner. And then the second one is going to be at the bottom. You want to make sure you look towards the pillow side of the bed and then grab it right here on the rail. The third one isn't going to be able to be gotten right now. You have to come back to it during the final chapter with Brok to grab it. So once you leave the bunker, you're going to be out front. You're going to want to grab these three very fast before you die from the pollution. So first one is going to be in the pill pipe right over here in the hole. Make sure you grab that. The second one is going to be right here in the foreground on this post. And then finally, the third one is going to be at the bottom left of this Christmas tree thing. Once you grab all of those, feel free to finish up the rest of the chapter. So chapter 5 is going to start us out with Graff's scenario. He is going to end up at the museum to complete his trial. Once you are here, you're going to head on inside. The first ad is going to be over here in the minus 200,000 BR exhibit, so make sure you grab that off of the middle shelf. The second ad is going to require that we do a little bit of platforming. So enter action mode, jump onto the piano in the middle of the room, then onto this exhibit, and then up and over here. And then you should be able to grab it right here in the back right. Then just drop down. You're going to need to get past the laser gate. To do that, you're going to need to enter action mode and then punch the triangular button right here. So make sure you do that, and that should disable the laser apparatus. And then once you get access to the back part of the museum, we should be able to grab the next collectible right over here in this little ticket booth thing. Once you get over to Brok's scenario, this is going to require him to go over to the factory to solve the pill pipe mystery. Once you are here, you're going to find the first collectible right over here on the hologram ad. So make sure you grab that from the bottom right. Then just make sure you go to the end of this street right here. And then you're going to want to enter action mode. You're going to have to jump over this L-shaped pipe. And then once you are behind this room, you're going to find the collectible right over here in the corner. And then the third one is going to be inside the room itself. This is going to be Dr. Gherkin's room. You're going to need to convince him to go outside. You can take either method to get him out. You can either do the violent method where you try to break down the door, or you can try to do the puzzle solving method where you try to repair the glass right here. So just make sure you do whatever suits your fancy or whatever playthrough you're trying to go for personally. And then just make sure you get Dr. Gherkin to come outside. And then once he's outside, just make sure you enter his room and then grab the collectible. You should be able to see it in the upper right of the window, so make sure you pull it down, and then we're going to move on to the final chapter. So once you start the final chapter, you're going to need to have the game progress in a way where you don't get an ending that ends the game too early. So first thing that you need to make sure happens is that Graff fails the exam. That should allow you to continue to play the game from this point. So if he fails the exam, he is going to basically go to Hacker Street and then try to pay the hacker to try to change the exam results. So make sure you take care of this. This is going to happen in any situation where you do fail the exam. Once you go outside, regardless or not if RJ is alive, you're going to want to head over to the right. If RJ is still alive, you just need to make sure you talk to him first. What's going to happen is the rats are going to jump you. Make sure you choose a choice that results in your capture. So make sure you pick do nothing, and then you and Ott are going to end up getting captured, which should allow you to get access to the last area we need for the last few collectibles. We are then going to pick back up with Brok in his scenario, where he's going to end up at the bunker from earlier. And now that we are here, we should be able to go for the third collectible. So make sure you wrap up your initial sweep of the place, and then eventually what's going to happen is you're going to interrogate the doctor. So interrogate Dr. Gherkin and then get that over with. Once you have access to the rest of the room again, you're going to need to go for the next collectible. This is going to require that you move the furniture in the observation room out of the way. So make sure you go up to it and then make sure you move it out of the way. And then once you've done so, there's going to be a control panel behind it. You want to make sure you look right here. It's going to be towards the middle left. There should be the collectible that you could barely see, but just make sure you highlight it and then click on it, and that should be the third and final collectible of the bunker. So make sure you pocket that before you free Dr. Gherkin to fix the control panel. Once we take care of that, and if everything went according to plan, we should go back to playing as Graff in the sewers. We are going to be tied to this chair right here. Make sure you try to free yourself by scooting over to this hook and then cutting yourself free by mashing the Y button. You are going to have to be pretty quick on this, as you're going to need to do this before the rat chief can enter the room. Make sure you get out of the chair, and then once you are up, you can find the first collectible right here on the cupboard in this pile of junk. So make sure you pocket that one. Then make sure you go over here to the bottom right. Make sure you grab this pipe chunk right here, as you're going to potentially need it to escape. Then just make sure you try to stealth your way out of the room. I'm going to recommend you wait until the guard passes you going to the left. Quickly move to the room next door where you'll meet up with Ott. Once you are in this room, make sure you head up here. Make sure you are on the right side of the bin, and then make sure you grab the collectible right over here. It's going to be on the edge of the pit. So make sure you grab that. Be very careful not to fall in, though. Once you pick this one up, we're going to have one more to go, and this one is going to be right outside. You can either wait to get it until you clear the room, either through a violent method or a stealthy method, or you can just rush to get it if you really want to get the achievement out of the way. Just run out of the room and then grab it right here on the rock by the ladder. Once you have that one, that should be all 111 ads. Once you pick it up, you should be good for the achievement. 50 gamer score for this one, and that's all there is to it.